What's up, everybody, and welcome into the Backliners podcast, Aggro and BaRRaCCuDDa, as per usual. And
as per usual, last 3 weeks.
As per usual, the last 3 weeks, we are working, and by we, I mean me, not to throw Bear under the bus, but it's really been a delay on my end, not on Bear's end. So really, I'm throwing myself under the bus when I say it here. That we're working on trying to get some guests lined up here, and something a little bit different, something a little bit outside the box, coming up.
Some
soon.
quality content.
Right, quality content, something along those lines. And speaking of quality content, BaRRa, we're outsourcing our quality content to the chat today. You know,
we're all out of ideas.
Because we're all out of ideas. I wasn't going to say that, but I guess the cat's out of the bag. No, you know, it's just like it's the off season. It's a little bit slow, and I don't know about you, but I got feedback that people really liked our AMA episode we did a while ago. And so just being able to talk to the chat and see what you guys have for us, what kind of questions you have about Season 8 in Smite or about life in general. We can help you with all of that. So we're here for it. So let's start reading the chat. First question's from Neil Ma, friend of the pod. What kind of underwear do you guys wear? BaRRa, you have a preference?
Boxer briefs.
Boxer briefs are the best. Yeah, it's not even close.
It's the comfiest. Okay, I was a boxers guy until I was like 19 or 20. And then I discovered boxer briefs because I honestly didn't know they existed. And then I put them on. I'm like, this is so comfy. I feel so secure.
Yep.
And like, yeah, just comfy. I was gonna go further into detail.
Yeah,
but,
I think we're right up against the line here, Barry. Let's keep it right there. Yeah, I think I think that's big. I think that is the way to go for sure. I'm a big fan. What is one thing? This is Eddie Bebe in chat. What is one thing every team needs to work on to get better? I don't know if I want to go team by team here, BaRRa, but maybe I think zooming this out even more than it already is the easiest way to get this to.
Or just like a Smite Pro.
Yeah, like
team.
what do you think? Like, you know, obviously we talk about League of Legends a lot as the more mature MOBA scene.
100%, yeah.
What do you think is the next step for Smite teams as a whole to advance the whole league?
I feel like we're still a very immature esports, I guess, strategy-wise. Like, when you watch us, it's just the same pressure, how they respond to pressure, and I feel like some teams are better at using the pressure than others, and I feel like that's been Smite for like 8 years.
Yeah.
And I feel like there is a lot more to the game, strategy-wise, than what is being shown. And when teams like Ghost can continually do the same strategies and continually beat the same teams with the same strategies, I feel like there's just some like underlying like key to, okay, it can't be literally let's just draft more pressure than them.
Right.
Like, there has to be just something more and something not so like barbaric strategy-wise. Like,
what do you mean? Just slamming pressure is all you need to do.
Oh yeah, let's go Fender, Camazot's dual lane, you know, I'll get horrific, you get sprint, you know, we'll run it down, see what happens. And,
right.
I mean, even the World Championship, like Ghost, in my opinion, should have 3-0'd due to their same strategy of early game pressure.
Yep.
And I don't know. My biggest thing I always come back to throughout my entire pro career is just pressure. Like, it's literally the bread and butter of Smite. And I hope I'm not wrong here in saying that there is more, but I'm just hoping there is. Yeah,
I think there is, personally, but I think we're a ways off from that. I've been saying for a little bit now that the way supports play the game is going to change. And I think that the way that guys like Mike and Neil and Aurora and Jake, you know, this last year, have kind of revolutionized that role. But I think there's still another step available, and that's not just playing these warriors and assassins as more aggressive CC picks, but I think there's a world where kits like Agni and Isis and these mages can come in and be real viable support picks that learn how to thrive without quite as much farm. Now, that being said, I also think Guardians are the best class in Smite and probably always have been and probably always will be. But I think that there's a way that, you know, I do think that things like Warrior and Guardian mids and more mage supports is something that we could see eventually. But
So more like the China team did in season 1, season 2?
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Or playing things like we saw Set mid. That was really one of the first assassins mid we've seen. Tsukiyomi, I think, is nuts in mid. I think he's got the clear to participate in that lane and way better all-in potential post-5 than like any other mage. I think that kind of stuff is the next thing that I'm looking for teams to do. But again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I think that there's got to be a reason. Johnny Beeg wants to know, what's your signature dance move?
I literally don't have a signature dance move because I don't dance.
I do have a signature dance move, believe it or not. But it's really stolen from my best friend back home. Shout outs to Gar. It's just, this is horrible podcast content, but it's just one finger. Just bump it up and down with one finger. That's a signature dance move right there.
Oh, that's a quality dance move.
Thank you.
You look good.
Paxi wants to know, do you feel the crit nerfs as well as counter crit and healing buffs will change the meta to a pen/chins build instead? Good question.
Oh yeah, I was talking about that a bit on my stream. I feel like the nerfs were a bit bad and a bit, I guess, excited. I feel like other things should have been buffed instead of nerfing the OP things. And I kind of wish everything was brought up to the level of that hunters were at. I do feel like the Death Toll Berserkers, like, found out Wind Demon build was strong, and you could go that build in like 4 rolls, but the nerfs hit the hunters in duo, as well as taking the hunters out of other roles, in my opinion. And that just makes hunters in duo worse. And when crit was bad, you saw more mages and assassins being played in the long lane because they could get the farm and then win the 1v1s and never be scared. And I don't want that meta to come back, where like it's mages in duo and assassins in duo. Like, I enjoy the hunter in duo meta, but I just feel like it was like just a bad nerf because I feel like Death Toll was the main problem, and it allowed hunters to just go over to solo and auto attack for like 80 because Warriors busting isn't a thing anymore.
Isn't.
Yeah, I just feel like the changes were a bit bad, so I mean, we'll see how it feels this week.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I do expect pen/chins to come back. Here's the deal. I think pen/chins might have been better the whole time. It's just people like building crit.
I mean, it's way easier to complain about like getting hit for like a 400 instead of like 200s. Right.
At the speed of sound, by the way. Hunters are so easy. It is unreal.
All right.
By the way, chat, I am going to try and read everything. I cannot make any promises that I see. And even if I do see your question, no promises that I'm answering it. So apologies in advance. But I will answer Andy Rohul's question. Would you rather eat pinto beans only in the morning or at night? I'll start. No pinto beans ever, please. Or black beans, for that matter. Beans are bad, except for green beans. Green beans are good. Or edamame beans, those are good too.
I don't think I've ever had pinto beans in the morning.
Try it out.
So it would.
Try it out and let them know. Try it out and let them know.
Eating them on like the
Jake toast. Just add them in.
No.
Okay.
That's
at night is better.
Yeah, definitely night.
Jabbers asks, thoughts on the team name Shadow Dogs Unleashed? It's too long.
Kind of cringy.
Yeah, well, it's very edgy, but I think it's so edgy that it's funny. Like, I get what they're going for here. Just go with the Shadow Dogs. Like, it's fine. They don't need to be unleashed. We can assume they don't have any leashes, because who's going to leash a Shadow Dog in the first place? Like... Well, I could do a whole episode talking about team names, man. The Smite team names have been so bad throughout history. I contributed being on a horrible team name back in the day. Hopefully no one remembers it. I hate naming teams, and I hate reading named teams. That's all I have to say about that.
Well, I think that's just an esports problem.
It is. But you know what, BaRRa? You don't have to really be embarrassed about this because Vicious and Delicious is a great team name. That's a great team name.
I don't even know who came up with that. It was probably like you want a heater.
It was a good team name, man. Like, it was catchy. It rhymed. It had a good abbreviation. Like VD, like VND maybe if you wanted it to be. Like, it had it all, bro.
Our in-game clan tag was V, or uppercase V, uppercase D, and then 2 E's.
I don't know how I feel about the 2 E's. I think I would have like uppercase V, lowercase n, uppercase D. That's what I would have gone for if I were in your shoes personally. But that was a good team name. That's all right. Thank you. Trio Stand wants to know about talk about finding your role. I never know which to main. I think for me it was just playing gods that I thought were cool. And then when you're playing those gods and you play against other gods that are in that same role, and if you think, wow, that god's kind of cool too, and you're saying that over a lot of gods, you probably should play that role. That's the way I feel about it.
Mine just comes from how I want to play the game, and I kind of grew up playing shooters, and so I was actually going to be a jungler until Andy joined our team way back in the day, and it was like, oh yeah, you're good at hunters, you should play hunter, and then that's literally how I became a hunter player. Just
have someone tell you you're good at something and then stick to that forever. That's the
basically, and then go win worlds. I mean, that's
just go win worlds. Yeah, that's big. Johnny Big wants to know who is the biggest brain in Smite.
Like player or role? I assume.
I'd say player. Yeah, I'd assume player.
I would say PBM probably.
Yeah, I think Mike just based on how much success he's had, but I think when I think of like the most creative players, I'd give it. I think Cherry and Aurora both think outside the box really well and are willing to try new things. Not that Mike isn't, but you know, like you said, Ghost is playing the way Ghost is playing, and if I were in Mike's shoes, I would think that keeping that play style is correct as well. So I really don't fault him for that. But you look at what Aurora has done over the course of his career and setting a lot of different metas and trying different starts on all of his teams and that kind of stuff.
Like, true.
I've got a lot of respect for the way. And oftentimes when I talk to Aurora, I don't agree with what he's saying. Like, I don't see the game in the same way as Aurora, but that is like a good thing in my mind. I don't know. I really like picking Max's brain about the game because I think he's very smart about it. Mad Lad is asking about state of lifesteal items on hunters. Seen many pros not go Devos or any lifesteal item in their builds, and he's seen some who still do. Thoughts behind whether or not to go lifesteal on ADCs.
Before I was just going Destal and it felt really good, then you upgraded Death Embrace and that still feels really good and kind of like fits the lifesteal you need in your build. Due to the Destal nerfs, I think we will see a lot more lifesteal items come in. I think we'll see more Gilded and maybe Eye of the Jungle with Devos builds, and then we'll still see the Leather Cowl trans build. But you don't really need to go lifesteal on Destal and Cowl since it has lifesteal in the items. But due to the recent Destal nerfs, I think we'll see a lot more pros going Devos in their builds.
Coming up soon enough. P. Dizzle is asking, what are our thoughts on the current Conquest map, and what are our hopes for future map changes this year? I can't comment on hopes for future map changes because I know some of them, so I don't know. It's like kind of weird for me, but this has been my favorite map to play on so far, I would say. I've really enjoyed this map.
I like the doors. I like the colors of the map. I don't like the trees. The trees are kind of annoying. The scorpions I'm still getting used to. I haven't scrimmed yet, so I don't know the actual flow of the map and when you should do the scorps. Obviously, you don't want to do the scorps when you're behind. But I do feel like there's sometimes where you can do the scorps and abuse that buff power, but I don't think I will know exactly when until we start scrimming a lot and really dissecting how the map should be played instead of just like smorking ranked games.
Yep.
And I do feel like a lot of early game objective comps will be good, due to these scorps, because you can just walk over whenever you want, kill the scorp super easy, and then walk back to the objective just as easily. And then on top of that, you're still buffing your buffs, so I think we'll see like things like Anubis mid and all that power up. And yeah.
Hey, pressure is going to be good again.
Wow.
Who would have thunk it? Junior Jersey 01 asks, what do we think of Jake and Haddock's diet of frozen pizzas for $2.50? I vibe with it, Junior Jersey, because when I first moved out, I was eating a lot of those little mini frozen pizzas, and they're pretty good, man. I mean, come on. Like, for the price, you're not feeling that bad about it. I do wish that I would have learned to cook earlier in my life, but I don't fault them, you know. They're youngins.
Definitely not a healthy one. I was the same way when I moved out. I did not have a good diet at all.
BaRRa, what was your favorite Hot Pocket? I'm assuming that you ate a lot of Hot Pockets like me.
I would say pepperoni, but I actually moved away from Hot Pockets because I had to wait so long to bite into them, because I would always bite into them early. Yeah, and it just melts like the roof of your mouth.
Bang. All right. If any Hot Pockets ad people are in the chat, I'm hooking you up with your next best ad campaign. You're renaming them to Warm Pockets, because they've been too hot for too long and no one wants them that hot. They just want them warm. Okay? There it is.
And like, heating up something that solid in the microwave, like if it's warm on the outsides, it's still ice cold in the middle.
Yep.
It's poorly designed product. I'm sorry.
Yeah. It would it's just tough, man. But I was a pepperoni pizza guy. And a ham and cheese. Ham and cheese was my favorite non-pizza one for sure. Maybe just better overall. Yeah, I think ham and cheese. Good. Ham and cheese was my favorite. I was saying this the other day. I haven't had ham in a while. Like when I buy lunch meat, it's always either turkey or salami. Like, I'm not going ham very often. I feel like I should.
I eat ham a decent amount due to Destiny having an absolute addiction to ham.
Ham's good, man.
She'll just randomly bring home ham, and then she'll just eat it right out of like the carton or like the carton of lunch meat.
Are you a fan of the honey baked ham, or do you prefer non-honey baked ham?
I like all ham equally, I think. Depending on the
setting. Shut up,
setting.
man. You've got to have one that you like more. No, come on. What is this ham apologizing that I'm saying here?
If I'm craving a sandwich, I'll crave like the normal lunch meat ham. And if I'm at like Thanksgiving or Christmas, there's a big old honey baked ham, I'm always going to take that over the lunch meat. But
all right, but when you can get honey baked ham, you can get honey baked ham as a lunch meat is what I'm saying. Like you can get.
Yeah, but I wouldn't do that
because it's worse.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, great. Yeah. We're on the same page, baby.
I'll just agree with you so we can move on to the
Thank you. That's very smart. Welcome. You're to quote Chiron, you're learning. Bobby Wakes is asking, what is our least favorite part of Season 8 so far? I'd say for me, it's always been the case that when you fall behind in mid, it's really easy to take you out of the game once you've fallen behind. But because mid is so big and so easy to gank with the size of the lane and the entrances, I feel like if I die early, my game is over faster. But that's just kind of the price you pay for how the map plays. So I would just say that, but it's not a major Season 8 complaint, I don't think.
I don't know if it's a Season 8 thing. I kind of felt it last Season 2, but whenever the support gets ahead of me, I literally feel useless.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
If they're tied or ahead, sorry. I literally feel like I auto them for 60. Just like, okay? Like,
yep.
I'll see you in 3,000 gold when I can hurt you, I guess. Like, okay.
Yep.
That's cool.
That's how it's been in mid for a long time, Barry. Welcome to the party.
That's terrible.
Neo Kerm wants to know if you could survive living in the Bolts team house.
Probably for a week, and then I'd probably go crazy after that.
What do you think the first thing that would drive you nuts would be?
Jake. Just Jake.
Just in general. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, just in general, Jake.
Navajo Smite asks, do you think that a relegation system, post-split, not mid-split, would encourage growth and competition in the Smite amateur leagues? I'll let you go first on this one, Bear.
A relegation system post-split, not mid-split.
Yeah, so in between like spring and summer splits, or summer and fall splits, or something like that. Doing relegations like we used to do.
Do they not have those currently?
No, if you're in the SPL,
Oh.
you are in the SPL.
Oh, I thought it was talking about SEC, like relegating like in and out of SEC.
Oh, they do have that in the SEC, I believe. I was assuming into SPL.
Oh, if it's in SPL, then yes, 100%. But I think due to Hi-Rez's current setup and the previous setups of the org sponsoring teams and now Hi-Rez sponsoring teams, I think it's basically impossible to do that. Because you'd have to be kicking out an entire team and getting them back on, which I think on Hi-Rez's end would be a lot of trouble, like rebranding a whole new team or giving that team, like, say, like if we got kicked out, like giving the new team like the Bolts logo or like giving them a whole new like in-game merchandise, all that stuff. And
Yeah.
I think that'd be a lot of confusion, I guess.
Yes, I agree with that. I think the only way you could do it is if you made enough team brandings to cover all of the SPL and all of the SCC, and then gave those brandings to SCC. But then that would mean that it made relegations pretty much impossible at the SOC level. And yes, I think the answer is yes. It obviously would encourage growth and competition in the amateur leagues, but I think it would come at the cost of competition in the pro league, because it would, as BaRRa said, it would make it harder for Hi-Rez to support the pros in a way that it can be their full careers. And it just causes too many uncertainties, especially when you're asking people to move from across the world to America. Job security is a part of that. And even still in the current system, those players don't have job security, but at least it's a little bit more personal and individual based than based on a team. In a perfect world, we could do it all, but I think that the current system is better than a relegation system for the SPL, because it allows us to bulk up the SPL a little bit more.
I think if SPL wasn't so defined right now in terms of, I guess, teams, and people could move in and out, I do think the relegation system would go really good. Like, if the SPL eventually like split back to like North America and Europe, and it wasn't like sponsored by Hi-Rez anymore and went back to like season 0-esque like beginnings, I think it's way easier to have relegations then, back when we had like 10 teams in North America, 10 teams in Europe, and not everyone sponsored like Thirst and all the other teams back then. I think that's way easier to have relegations, but I just looking at it from a company standpoint or like a overhead standpoint, I think it's too hard to do. But I do think relegations are very healthy for a competitive setting.
Yeah. Eddie Bebe asks, what is one god in every class that needs a rework? Again, I don't think we can go into every class, but maybe just one god you want to see get reworked, BaRRa?
I would say Arachne. I just think her kit's very lame and just boring. It's like 2 steroids and then like her 3 is like not very cool. Like, it's just a boring kit in my opinion.
This should surprise nobody. I don't think he really needs a full rework. I'm thinking like Thor level for Zeus. I think Zeus needs to be changed at a bigger scale than just numbers, because obviously he's very oppressive in Assault and Joust and Arena, but he dog in Conquest, and we hate that. Donut Hole asks, what's the best peanut butter to jelly ratio? 100% peanut butter, 0% jelly.
Yeah, I agree with that. I'm not a big jelly fan, but if I had to answer, I'd probably go like 80-20.
After our conversation last week, BaRRa, I had multiple peanut butter sandwiches this week.
And they're delicious?
They were delicious. But the first time I went to make one, dude, I spread it on my bread, and then I looked down at my bread, and my bread was a little bit moldy. I hadn't gotten any new, so I had to throw it away and then wait like 2 days before I could eat it. I was craving one the whole time.
I do think, okay, I don't know if I actually read this, but I think moldy bread's okay to eat.
Yeah, you can just rip out the moldy part and then eat the rest. And even if you eat a little bit of mold, the worst you'll get is a stomach ache. But I'm just not going to be looking mold dead in the eye and then challenging it. Like, that's just not how I am as a person, man. That mold earned it. It's not getting... I had my shot to eat that bread without mold. I missed it. It's on me. I'll buy more bread. Like, that's how it's going to be. Padme of Naboo asks, will we ever see a 2 Hunter 3 Guardian meta again? We'll see every meta that's ever existed again at some point. Time is a circle. That's how it works. Scrumbopulus nailed that one. Do you think the recent nerfs hurt the jungle potential of hunters? I mean, I guess hunters just got worse across the board, but that's kind of the way it be.
Yep.
Oh man, we are really behind because I'm just now getting roasted that beans are bad. Oh, okay. We gotta maybe we gotta be a little bit more selective here. Though this is a good question from Neon. Best style of barbecue sauce, like Kansas City, Memphis, etc. Barry?
I don't know if I know like the specific style, but just like spicy and smoky. Like every time I go to a barbecue restaurant in Georgia, I'll always put spicy and smoky on my meats.
Spicy and smoky on your meats. Yeah, I'm just not a barbecue fan. I'm not a barbecue sauce fan. I really love smoked meats and like pulled pork and all that kind of stuff. I would just rather have hot sauce than barbecue sauce.
That's fair.
Sue me. Most fun Staff of Mirrodin God from Bust a Move. That's going to be Sobek from me. The only way you're allowed to play Sobek actually is, and I tweeted about this recently, is if you build Staff of Mirrodin and you double pluck someone back to where they started from. That's the only moral way to play Sobek. And it's very fun.
I would say Bacchus.
Double flopping people is very good for sure. Hazer wants to know, what the hell are we going to call Valhalla Valkyries on the cast? We're going to call them the Valkyries. Hazer, what do you mean?
Are you calling every team by the second part of their name?
Yeah, I think I will.
Okay.
I think, like maybe the Tartarus Titans and the Oni Warriors, like sometimes I might call like the Titans, Tartarus needs to do this, but for the most part, should I not do that, Bear? I just gotta.
Tartarus sounds so bad.
The tartar sauce gang needs to get working on that.
What do you think Tartarus needs to work on after they just lost?
Well, they gotta get on more fish sandwiches. That's all there is to it.
It sounds so bad. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the Valkyries is fine. That's just kind of the way it be. All right, Smash Poker asks, is there something fundamentally wrong with the Smite Pro scene that so few new players break through to the SPL?
I feel like a lot of new players are in.
Yeah, I think a lot of new players are in this season. And in short, no. That's my answer.
I think the rate that new players are joining is healthy, because I think if it's too many new players, then the fan bases jump around too much and start to lose like why they initially started watching Smite, I would say. Because I think if every team changed like 3 players a year, that would be way too much.
Yes.
And I think you need a bit of old with new basically every season, with like the old eventually leaving, obviously, to kind of keep the fans the same and keep them watching. Like, because Jake, for instance, Jake's career just started. Like, I feel like the people that watch me now like Jake, so then Jake has a growing fan base now, and then those fans will stay with Jake for like the rest of his career.
Right. Yeah, I think that just having new names in the scene for the sake of having new names in the scene doesn't make any sense to me. The goal shouldn't be having X new players. It should be having the best players in the league, best players who are willing to participate in the league, and that doesn't always happen. But I don't think that there is a clear problem in that zone. So no, I don't think so. Hulk 477 asks, who is a better Smite player, Aggro, Aggression, or Fat Egg? The secret is they're all the same. But as soon as I put on the sleeve, like, things get serious. So that's the way it goes. Haddix asks, how old is BaRRA?
30.
The big 3-0.
Even though he's asking for a troll, I will answer the real answer.
Right. Listen, man, I'm right on your heels, so I'll be right there soon.
Thank you.
Rart asks, who is the greatest player of all time in your opinion at BaRRaCCuDDa? So I'm going to shut my big fat mouth on this one and let you handle it.
It might be recency bias, but I would think Paul.
You think he's the
And
You think he's the best player of all time?
yeah,
Wow.
like I know it's crazy, but his Worlds performance this past year literally blew my mind. And
Yeah.
I don't think I've had my mind blown like that in a very long time. Like for like if we're talking like older, I probably say like adapting or Yaman. But I think recency bias is really big for me, and I would just say Paul.
That's some big recency bias. I mean, look, he's up there for sure. He's on
Dude,
his way.
that
But
that World's performance, the amount of games, the amount of objectives, the amount of kills, like
it was
across the board, that performance should go down, in my opinion, as the best World's performance by any player thus far.
Yep, I would agree with that. Eddie asks if you could have any commentator from anywhere, dead or alive, cast Worlds. Who would you want to cast?
What?
I don't know. But if it's not Smite related, but they could keep their same skill set, the best cast we could ever have would be this is very sports heavy here. But it would be Doc Emmerich, who I think is the best play-by-play commentator of all time, and Tony Romo, who's the GOAT NFL commentator. The Doc Emmerich Tony Romo cast would be unbeatable. If it were just Smite, I would. For me personally, being very selfish here, I would like to cast with Bart, and just to get that experience underneath my belt.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's my answer. BaRRa, you can hit that one if you'd like.
I will say Tastosis.
There you go. That's a good one.
Thank you.
TJ9710, were the mannequin nerfs too much? I don't think so.
Well, the item died once it got nerfed, so I think so, but it might be the thing of people stop buying an item simply because it got nerfed.
I personally think it's that one. Alan Likes Twirls asks, what has been the best / worst SPL team to watch for pure entertainment? Back in the day, man, tuning in to see which 5 players showed up for Thirst was fun. Like, at some level, just which 5 amalgamation of players Wolfie convinced to come on. Wolfie and BaRRaCCuDDa convinced to sign up for that week. It was fun on some level, right?
For pure entertainment for me, it has to be the Oxygen Supremacy run. I think that was the most
good.
hype I've ever been for another team.
Yep.
Yeah, that was just super exciting.
Yeah, that was fun. All right, let's see here. Trying to catch up. TJ says, okay, I have one complaint and I want to know your guys' thoughts on it. I wish there was an option to disable all skins, my gods and the enemies, because there is so much visual clutter. Thoughts? That's like pretty impossible, I think, from a tech side, if I had to guess. But even if it weren't impossible, I think that's just kind of the nature of the beast, and yeah, you just kind of learn to deal with it. I don't know. I don't feel that strongly about it.
I think the new skins need to not be so crazy, because from a competitive standpoint, having to test all the new skins or report to admins that these skins are OP / need to be banned before they are comp available is kind of annoying, I would say, and a lot of skins are like right on the border of being really annoying to play against. So I would personally, as a competitor, love that if there was like a default sound pack and default like, if I could make Raw's 1 look like a normal Raw 1 on every single skin, that'd be awesome. And same with like every other ability in the game. I would absolutely love that. But unfortunately, that is the world that we do not live in. So yeah, just, as Aggro said, you kind of have to deal with it, and I've been dealing with it my whole career.
Look, man, here's the reality. Smite's a free-to-play game. All of our money comes from people buying skins. Buy gems, buy more skins. That's it, and everyone will be happier for it. That's the reality of the situation.
Well said.
I walk the line with a good question here. Now that orgs are out, BaRRa, what were your favorite orgs to play for?
Ooh.
If you want to talk about it, you can veto this one.
I would say SSG. and SSG for what the org did for me. Cloud9 for name clout, I would say, because that was my first big, like, I guess tier 1 esports team that I was on, like, ever. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm on the same team as like all of these famous people that I've been watching forever. Like, to be under their esports branding is just unreal.
Yep.
And Cloud9 treated us really well as well, but their name clout was just insane for me at the time.
Yeah, we were loving that for sure. For me, by far the best org I ever played for was the very first one. Shout outs to RB and Aware Gaming back in the day. That RB, good man. I did not enjoy the org experience for sure. We'll put it that way. With every other org I was a part of. Mr. Chuck Nasty asks, do you think there should be more than 8 teams in the SPL to give the opportunity to more people and increase competition?
For opportunity, that would be cool, but I think it would actually decrease competition.
Agreed. I do not. I think either 8 or 10 I'm fine with. But I don't see any reason to really push it past 10 ever again. Unless something changes drastically, but I think 10 is the max that I would want to see personally.
And like I said earlier, if the regions did split up, it'd be cool to have 8 in both. And obviously, let's like have the funding go back to tournaments. That'd be cool. But I think 8's the perfect number. Again, with aggro, I will say between 8 and 10, I think is a perfect amount.
Yeah. Sino asks, how do you beat Tier Cat? Sino, why would you ask us an impossible to answer question?
I was going to say, how do you beat
Come on, you're not beating Tier Cat. You got to take him off of it. That's the only, you got to take him off of it in picks and bans. Because once he locks it in, it's game over.
You're done for. Yeah, there's nothing you can do.
Yep, that's tough. Brit50 says, first off, thanks for loving the podcast. Thanks, Brit. Second, what's your opinion on gods in the meta getting nerfed and then never being seen again? That's how MOBAs work, and will continue to work forever, pretty much. That's my mind.
I view the meta as like a puddle of gods that are good, and then some are on the middle of the puddle, so like they have to have big nerfs to affect them to push them out. Some are right on the edge, and some of the ones on the edge get pushed off, and there's like their own little puddle up here that's like all like the random picks that will work in like certain team comps. But yeah, I think some people way overreact to certain nerfs, and then sometimes, that's actually what the god needed to get out of the meta.
Agreed. Jaw Binks comes in with, how do you feel about late game starter upgrades for hunters? Because I feel like it might be better to just 6-slot an item and sell the starter late.
I think gildeds are bad. I think one of the Cal upgrades is good. Haven't experimented that much with the other Destal upgrade, but Death's Embrace was really good. Eye of the Jungle is pretty good. I think Eye of the Jungle will be better for comp than for ranked. And yeah, I think that's all of them. Well, mannequins, I haven't touched mannequins since the nerf, so yeah.
There you go. Our good friend Bongwater69. Man, I couldn't have timed that any better, right as Barra took a drink of water. What are your plans after Smite? Any interests or things you guys want to do? For example, Aggro casting different games, Barra moving on to content creation, possible casting, etc. Barra, you given any thought to your post-Smite life?
I would probably just say relax and still do Smite content. I don't think my community would ever be big enough for me to get up and move to another game and do content creation for another game. I might play other games on the side, but I love Smite. I've been playing Smite for like 9 years now, and I think I'd be good at analyzing the game. I would never cast the game because I think I'd be terrible at that. But I feel like I could
definitely make you a good caster, Barry. I'm so sure of it. I'm so sure.
This guy's
Plus,
been
here's the
telling me
reality.
this for years.
Look, I know. Here's the reality of it, Barra. You could absolutely suck, and everyone would still love you because you're BaRRaCCuDDa. Like, you don't. The stakes have never been lower for anybody making that kind of career choice. That's all I'm saying. Is that it's an option available to you. I'm sure. Should it cross your mind? I'm trying to recruit.
Me to caster so bad, dude. It's crazy.
It's so crazy, man. I just keep hearing Mifflin talk in my ear, and I'm thinking, I need Barry here. That's a joke, by the way. I love Mifflin. He's a sick caster and a great friend, and I love that guy.
Also, that guy gets more flack than he deserves because he has gotten a lot better.
Mifflin, beast. He's better than all of you in the chat. Get over it. both at Smite and at casting. Except for Sino, if you're still here, Sino, you're better than Mifflin at both.
Oh, wow.
Probably not at casting, actually. Sino would just be super toxic, I bet. As for me, I really haven't given that much thought to post-Smite because I can't imagine putting as much time into something else as I have into casting Smite.
Mm-hmm.
I love it.
I think you'd be sick at it.
Yeah, I think that I could play Smite for sure forever. No, but it's just I don't know. I think that ultimately I'm just kind of taking it where it goes. I think if I had to guess what I'd want to do, it's probably help other people become esports casters in general. But I also really like game design stuff and could see myself going down that avenue. Who knows? I don't spend too much time thinking about it because I'm just kind of enjoying what's going on here. All right, let's see here. Got to scroll down a little bit. Maybe there's a good time for me to run an ad so I can remember to do it for once.
Good idea.
And it'll let me catch up. So we'll be right back after this very smoothly played advertisement. First we do this. Oh, okay. Yeah, we're doing it.
Join Ignition Casino, your go-to destination for the best online poker, table games, progressive slots, and much more. Sign up with the promo code Ignition777 and deposit using Bitcoin to get 25 free spins on 777 Deluxe.
Bang! There we go.
Well done.
And we're back. And 1 second. And we're back. Welcome back, everybody. We're back here at the Backliners podcast. Backliners podcast. My brain is clearly starting to go.
You're doing great, buddy.
Thanks, man. All right, I gotta really start scrolling. What is the aggro hat of the stream? There's just a plain white hat that I'm wearing. There's great podcast content, as we often talk about. I'm wearing a plain white hat. My wife got it for me for my birthday, I believe, because it's a good golfing hat, and I like to golf. So there you go. Oh, here you go. Miss J.K. Glotzer asks, how do you and your wife like the weighted blanket? Any regrets? Absolutely none. We got a weighted blanket. It's like a 25-pound queen-size weighted blanket, and it absolutely owns. I love it. It will be probably too warm come summertime. We'll see, reevaluate at that time. But big recommendation on weighted blankets. Barra, do you and Destiny have a weighted blanket?
Yeah, I was going to say, if you are having second thoughts about getting one, just go ahead and get one because they're amazing and will let you sleep so much better.
Yep.
Just seriously, just go get one. Wait for them to go on sale. They were literally on sale yesterday on Amazon for like 30% off. Oh. And yeah.
Now you're telling them. Yeah, that's rough,
yeah,
dude.
Sorry, you didn't ask yesterday, but 100% worth every penny.
Yeah, they are great. P. Dizzle asks, what is your favorite cookie and why is it not chocolate chip oatmeal? I do love oatmeal raisin cookies, and I will say the raisins are probably the worst part. I've never had an oatmeal chocolate chip, but it would probably be pretty good. But I believe we've talked about this on the podcast before. My favorite cookie is Snickerdoodles.
I have no idea what I said at the time. I'll go to chocolate chip, chocolate chip cookie.
I think you said chocolate chip.
Okay, good.
That's what I think.
Just stay true to who I am.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe someone can tweet at us, a true fan of the podcast, or someone in the chat who can remember.
They're keeping tallies of all of our answers to every question.
Yeah, seriously, that's the way to do it. I caught up. Let's go. The Moist Boy CQ. I didn't like reading that name the longer it went. Hey, Aggro, as a Pittsburgh native, what are your thoughts on the Pens this season? I have really not paid a whole lot of attention. But I can't imagine they're doing that well. I know we choked a 3-0 lead to the Flyers the other night, which, even though I haven't watched a single Penguins game, ruined my night instantly just thinking about losing to the Flyers in that way. But yeah, I don't know. The Penguins are in a weird spot. I mean, Crosby and Malkin are getting older. How many, do you want to try and go for it in the windows that they have left? Do you want to try and just tank a little bit and let them, maybe trade them? Don't really want to do that because they've been franchise players for so long, but that's just kind of the way it be. They're in a weird spot. The Genre Savvy asks, favorite word game. charades. Is that how you spell that can't be how you spell charades.
It's-
Sorry to blow you up, Genre Savvy. Taboo, etc. My family is a huge fan of Taboo. I also am. I love Taboo. I also love categories. I love categories.
I think Scattergories would be my favorite, but I'm not crazy about any.
Really? I love
Yep.
word games.
I'm just not smart, so.
Here's a really fun way to play categories is if you, let's say that your letter is W. For those of you who don't know, categories is a game where you get a list of questions and then you roll a die, and whatever letter comes up on that die, all of your answers have to start with that letter. And if you get the same answer as anybody else, neither of you gets points. So you have to be creative and think of these things. And I love doing things where, like, if it's a W, I just answer everything as if it's an R, but I just have, like, that's just how I pronounce it. It'll be like, so animal, instead of saying walrus, I'll be like, yeah, I have wabbit. And everyone will be like, that obviously doesn't count. I'm like, what do you mean? It clearly does. Wabbit absolutely starts with W. That's
You're
just
that
a good
guy.
bit. Yeah, I think that's funny for me. I'll throw the whole game just for a bit. No doubt about it.
I don't think I've ever played that game and, like, kept track of the score.
Really? What's the point, man? You got to be able to trash talk at the end of the day.
Well, I'm playing with my family, so.
Yeah, yeah, you got to let them know who got
We're
the,
not like-
the best genes, man.
We're not, like, trash talking. 'Cause
What do you
My
mean?
sister's obviously smarter than everyone else.
Oh, well, that's
so,
why
like,
you aren't. She's
we're not winning.
John, let me cue you in on a secret here. Your sister's keeping score, even if you aren't, you know? If she thinks she's winning, she's probably keeping score.
That's my 50th straight win in Scattergories.
Yeah, just dominating the Salter household. You love to see it.
Of course.
Admiraleric wants to know our favorite skin in the game. That changes for me like all the time. I don't know.
My base every time I go to a Slickshot Apollo, but I don't even know.
Slickshot Apollo? Is that his recolor?
Yeah, it's a recolor.
What? You're telling me that
it's
we
a
have
sick
spent
skin. Okay, here we go.
millions of dollars
There
on
we
making
go.
skins, and we
I
could have
didn't make you
satisfied
guys.
you with the recolor of a god who came out in like 2017 or 2015?
I am not an aesthetic guy, okay? So, if it looks good, that's good enough for me. And it's not my fault that you guys spent millions of dollars on skins.
Great.
Obviously, you didn't do that great of a job if it doesn't beat Slickshot Apollo.
Right. Well,
So-
I'm gonna petition to get Slickshot Apollo reworked and
Please
worked
do not.
just to spite you, man. I'm gonna go into Ajax tomorrow and ask him.
I'll have to find a new skin to have a base default answer to.
Yeah, who has the best? I was gonna ask who has the best base skin, and you have to think about the card art as well,
I
because
don't even know what the card arts look like.
what? You don't even know what the card art looks like for Slickshot Apollo? That's a huge part of your favorite skin, right?
No, I just play with the skin.
What?
Are you trolling?
No,
You
I'm not
memorized all the
trolling. Are
card
you
arts?
trolling? Yes,
Are
of
you
course. The card
troll?
arts matter.
Okay, you're overboard with this, bro.
First of all, that's my whole brand, so you cannot be that surprised about that. Secondly, yes, the card arts do matter. Fine, don't worry about the card art at all. Who has the best base skin, do you think?
I don't know. Why would I care?
Because I'm asking you the question, Barra. That's the whole premise of the podcast,
So?
man, is that I ask you questions and you give me
You
opinions.
ask me a
That's the whole
question.
point.
You can't force me to have an opinion about something I don't care about.
Well, if
Same
Slickshot
with-
Apollo is your favorite skin in the game, I think we could probably say that you like base Apollo a decent amount. Am I right?
It's alright. I mean, it could probably be better. What?
Chad, here's the thing: is that we're gonna turn off the podcast. I'm gonna close OBS, and Barra's gonna go, man, that was so fun trolling you whenever we were talking about base skins, and none of you are ever gonna know about that, and that's really tilting me. Okay,
I don't know if that actually happens.
that happens all the time, Barra. That happened with Disney movies. I'm calling you out right now.
I mean, do you have the recording?
No, of course I stopped recording. That's the point. Is that you wait
Well-
until that point.
I don't think it happened.
Well, we'll see about this.
I mean, if you don't have proof.
Right. Oh, I'll have proof soon enough. By the way, for the record, Zeus has the best default skin and card art in the game. Zeus's default card art is freaking awesome. All right, we're getting close to the end here, but we'll try and wrap up and catch up one last time. Best god / voice line impression from Kithara.
What?
Can you do a God voice line
No.
impression? No?
My own voice is so boring. Why would I be able to do an impression of another character?
Wouldn't that make it better to be able to do impressions if your base voice is boring, but then you could spice it up a little bit with an impression?
No, I'm spiceless.
Okay. No spice at all from BaRRa.
Well, actually, if you just go to my stream, 2 Rs, 2 Cs, 2 Ds,
right.
that's actually my stream, just 2 Rs, 2 Cs, 2 Ds.
If we could get someone at Twitch to redirect twitch.tv/2Rs, 2Cs, 2Ds directly to twitch.tv/BaRRaCCuDDa, that'd be great.
I would love them. I probably do make fun of Smite God, so I don't have like an impression. I'm not like, one thing about me, I'm not an impressions guy, and I'm also not like remember that funny like SpongeBob quote guy? I'm not that guy.
Oh,
I
am
won't be like
that
an
guy.
office quote guy. Won't be an anything quote guy. That's just not.
I love quoting stuff. I love it. And I love doing impressions of the things that I'm quoting. Though it's I'm not very good at it, I'd say, but I love doing it either way.
That's part of the fun, I think.
I think that is part of the fun as well. And I gave you one of my best ones earlier, Cathara, my Chiron, You're Learning, earlier on. So there you go.
That was a good one.
DB Sheepy asks, for BaRRa and Aggro, what is the best way to break through your skill ceiling? I've been in a slump for a while. True that. Not even kidding. I have been in a slump for a while and feel like I'm not learning anything. I'm towards a high diamond level, can't seem to break into masters. For me personally, as BaRRa said, I never have, so this isn't great advice, but I think taking a little bit of a break and just watching content, and then like I'm talking like a 2 to 3 day break at the very least, and then coming back kind of refreshed a little bit, and playing a game. If you want to record it on something like OBS and then rewatch it back and see where you made your mistakes, that's super helpful as well. But just kind of like thinking actively about why you're doing the things you're doing will help you out.
For me, I would say quality of practice way over quantity of practice. So just queue ranked to queue ranked. If you're literally just queuing to go through the motions, you will not get better. You will literally just stay the same. I do think breaks are just as important as playing. So if you've been grinding for a while, take a break, go do something else, go do another hobby, play another game, get out of the house, do anything else, then play Smite. Because when you are in that rut, you're just focused on, I'm in this rut. Like, I go through ruts as well, where I'm just like, nothing's working, this feels bad. I just stop watching Smite streams, stop watching like SPL. I'll just go do anything else to get my mind off of Smite so I can come back with a fresh mind and kind of work from the ground up instead of like already starting at this point where I'm just like, I'm stuck here and can't get better. If you are coming off of a break right now, I would suggest watching a lot of pro whatever role you play and then really dissecting their gameplay. Like, go every minute and study that minute and see why are they doing the decisions that they're doing, whether either in team fights or in laning phase, and really dissect what they're doing. Yeah. And instead of just watching streams like casually.
Yeah, you gotta invest. I think that you should be paying almost as much attention to the VODs you're watching as you are when you play. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to translate it. I think there's a question just for me, but I'm going to answer it anyways. Eddie Bebe asks, what's your favorite dunk contest dunk ever? BaRRa, you have a favorite dunk contest dunk?
Yeah, and I'm sure there's one in Space Jam,
Space Jam's a banging movie, bro. No problem with that. My favorite, it's not the most impressive dunk ever, but Vince Carter's reverse 360 windmill, and that just is the most aesthetically pleasing thing I've ever seen in my whole life. That is it's just so smooth. BaRRa, you were going to say that too, right?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't answer almost with that many words.
Right. Something like that. Let's see here. Would I like to be a guest on the Colgate Comedy Hour? I would, Junior Jersey. That's such a great reference, man. I love that. It's from I Think You Should Leave, BaRRa, a show that is perfect and hilarious, that you hate me and the show.
Really did not think it was funny.
You're wrong. That's all there is to it. Okay, here's where we're at the part of the chat where everyone is laughing at you for having some weird opinion about skins and all that kind of stuff. BaRRa is such a minimalist. Would you agree with that statement?
Mm-hmm. I don't need much to be happy, I don't think.
BaRRa always with the bad takes. I would agree with that one, personally.
I have simple takes. Nothing wrong with a simple take.
Yeah, well, in some ways, yeah. Neil Ma asks, were the multigrain scoops good? Did we talk about that live on the podcast, or was that post-podcast?
Post-podcast, and then I think I texted you on Discord about it or something.
Yeah.
Destiny actually liked them more. I liked them slightly less. But they weren't as bad as I thought they would be. I was pleasantly surprised.
They're really good. Multigrain Tostitos scoops are goated chips, everyone. That is. All right, and last question of the evening from Chris Owl 45. What is your favorite role this season, not including your main role? BaRRa's is playing Xing Chen like an ADC. That is BaRRa's favorite role, is playing his supports exactly the way he plays hunters.
Yeah, that was my answer.
BaRRa, I watch you back with like 300 gold after you buy your item, and you just mosey on out of base with your health chalice. The consumable page screaming to buy a ward. I've also sometimes
every time I don't play ADC, I don't buy wards. I don't know what it is. I literally will end the game with like 3 to 5 wards every time I don't play ADC. On ADC, I'm literally 1 health bot, double ward, going back to lane. Support, never buy a ward the whole game, and I don't know.
It is wild.
I don't know what my problem is.
I also love, like, I think sometimes I'm watching you play support on stream, and you see a fight, like, you don't say it out loud most of the time. You're just kind of like doing that 5v5 dance to like fire on a Phoenix or something like that. And then I can almost see your brain go, man, I wish my support would just engage and start this fight. And then you go, wait, that's me. And then you get in there, and it's always like at these weird times where I'm thinking like he definitely thought someone should do it and then realized it was his job to do it.
Yeah, I'm looking for that opportunity, like, because the ADC brain in me is like, I have to actually get something with my buttons, not just like, oh, I have to blink in and just like press any button or like press a button. Like, the ADC brain's like, oh, I want to pull like 1 or 2 people with my Xing 10 ult, or I want to get like a giant like knock up into roots. I'm just like staring, like waiting for the opportunity. I'm just like, wait, that's not how it works. Like, everyone has beats and Aegis and ults. Like, I just have to like be the one to like, oh, just let me like herp derp, like blink in, press my Xing 10-1 on somebody. Like, yeah, we're starting
Bang.
a fight, boys. Like, yeah.
Yeah, that's huge. Neil in the chat says, this is offensive, BaRRa. And you are kind of coming at his throat in some ways. But
that's literally what you did.
That's
you won Worlds by doing that.
Yeah, and you know what? He's the 2-time for doing that.
Yeah.
For me personally, I'd say jungle. I've been having the most fun when I'm not playing mid on jungle. I got through my support phase, I think. I just don't want to be there anymore. I just don't want to be in duo lane anymore. It's not as fun when I can't just herc abuse every game. That's the way I feel about it, at least. All right, everyone. I think that's going to do it here for the Backliners podcast. Oh, wait, I don't have a random question. I guess this whole episode was random questions.
Yeah, I was about to say, the whole thing was random questions.
Okay, good, because I don't have one, so you're not getting one, so quit asking. Make sure you guys give us a rating on iTunes, or do people use iTunes? What am I saying? Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that kind of good stuff. And of course, given that subscribe and or like button over on BaRRaCCuDDa's YouTube, because you could also do it there. Hello, kitty cat. Which cat is that? I can only see the tail.
She just jumped behind me.
Yeah, she's vibing, dude. She's there to chill. And also make sure you're checking out the rest of Predictions podcast. They have a bunch of great podcasts covering a wide range of different esports and games. So make sure you check those guys out. We'll be back next week, hopefully with a cool guest, or worst case scenario, we'll just have Neil Ma on again. So thanks guys for watching or listening, and we'll see you next time. We'll see you next time here on the Backliners. BaRRa, go ahead.
Bye.
Unlucky.
Sorry, Neil.